So, hello everyone. Hope you're doing well and you're enjoying the conference so far. A little bit about myself before I start. So, I'm GD for Angular since 2020. Yes, I'm a pandemic GDE and the author of 2 books, Reactive Patterns Using ArcGIS with Angular. And the second edition is about the same thing, the same patterns, but adding Angular signals to the table. Apart from that, what I do for a living, I'm a senior software engineer. I'm leading the front-end department in my company. And yeah, I'm doing this kind of technical and management stuff. Apart, I'm the founder of Angular Tunisia. I do a lot of speaking, mentoring, and trainer. And this year, I think I've been in this industry for like 12 years, and this year is really different because this year is everything about AI. So AI is everywhere. Models are popping up like mushrooms, Gemini, GPT-5, Composer lately. There are a lot of models coming in, a lot of AI initiatives. AI is everywhere, in every feed, in every meeting, in every post. And yeah, there is innovation over there. There is a lot of good stuff and amazing things happening. And there is also a lot of drama, meanwhile. So you see posts like, yeah, it's the end of software engineers, AGI is here, AGI is coming, AI will write 90% of code in 3-6 months. Amazon CEO says that, yeah, AI will cut up jobs, we will be replaced, all this stuff. And Jeffrey Hinton says, train to be a plumber. Thank you, Jeffrey. Really appreciate it. So yeah, this year is different, and developers start getting frustrated, and I was frustrated at some point. So will AI take my job? And I started like asking people in the conferences, will AI take your job?
Asking developers one burning question. Will AI take your job? Let's see their reactions. Will AI take your job?
Yes. Unfortunately, yes.
No.
Eventually, probably yes.
Probably. I don't think so.
AI can replace my work because I have seen some things only real developers could do.
I'm using it a lot. It helps in my developer experience, smoother, faster at writing what I want.
Most of my code today is created with AI. So I'm just here to understand what it's about, how to debug it if I need to, focusing on other aspects of our job.
I don't need to think that much about complicated stuff anymore.
It is moving fast and it is moving into the right direction right now.
I think it's going to change how we do things, but it won't take the job away.
I hope it will make it much better. I can just do the super most interesting parts.
Going for quantum computing. AI needs quantum computing. I'm in a safe place.
You need to control the AI results. So that's the reason why I don't think that my job will be taken by the AI.
If you can use AI, never be replaced.
So what's your backup plan?
My backup plan is to become a farmer.
When
I get laid off, that's my plan.
Thank you very much.
So I don't know, maybe it's not anytime soon anymore, but yeah, to be honest, okay, so we'll not like be replaced, as I said, not for now, I think, I hope so. But yeah, the AI shift is here, and it has already transformed our way of coding, how we think, how we design. I already use a lot of AI to like generate my code, and it's really saving a lot of time for me. So we need like to like cooperate with AI and level up the way we code, design, and build apps. Yeah, and as it's transforming how we build web apps, Angular developers are asking how we can like elevate our Angular apps in order to keep up with those AI trends. And the Angular team has done like a lot of stuff in order to cooperate, let's say, with this AI landscape. And this is what this talk is about. So we will see how we will enforce, how we can enforce those Angular web apps with AI and generate smart AI applications. So we start like AI can generate anything, good or bad, okay? So with frameworks like Angular that are evolving fast, okay, in every release there are like some improvements, new APIs, deprecations, and all this stuff. So how AI can deal with that? First thing is Angular rules, okay? So Angular provided a set of rules, and when we say rules, by definition, is like a file, it's an MD file that provide instruction for AI and how to write the code. For example, you will see things like always use standalone components. Use the last version of Angular. Angular 21 has just been released yesterday. So yeah, use the latest version. Don't use input and output functions like the classic way, but use the signal input output. Use native control flows. They're all set of rules that the Angular team has put in place in order to give this context to AI. So you can scan this QR code to find like the link to all the rules, and the rules are customized according to the AI IDE you are using. So if you are using Cursor, you will find rules for Cursor. GitHub Copilot, you will find the rules for GitHub Copilot, and all this stuff. So you will have only to like download those rules and include them in your AI IDE in order to generate code that respects best practices and the latest updates. This from one part. Next, now, how do we guide AI learning for those who want to like train those or give context to LLMs? So here also, Angular provided this solution. There is a file, llm.txt, that propose web standard like to LLMs in order to give more context. So there's a lot of documentation about Angular inside of it. And yeah, the goal is to guide AI models to the correct up-to-date documentation and all the Angular spirit. Here again, there is the QR code that you can scan in order to get the LLM file that you should give as a context. Now, how do we connect this AI and our Angular project? And here comes the MCP, the Model Context Protocol. So since this protocol is released, it's kind of making AI speaking and interacting with the external world. Okay, tools are starting to provide MCP. Figma, for example, for those who know it, they provide MCP in order to generate directly code from the Figma sketch, GitLab. There are a lot of examples of MCP. And regarding Angular, the MCP is here in order to give like a lot of tools. In Angular 20, there are three tools that are given to the MCP. They can detect the projects, Angular projects in your Angular.json, can give him documentation in order to like generate code given this documentation and the best practices in order to scan those best practices and generate the code that respect in it. So here is the small video of integrating MCP in Cursor. They are equivalent in every AI IDE. So here you just put the MCP server, and when you start prompting, for example, here you will see that the list of projects is called through the MCP. So it's kind of, so the LLM will not generate code directly, but will call the MCP and then call those tools and use them, and then is returning the results. It's kind of controlling the AI results, but in a smart way. So also you can ask here, you will see that the prompting will ask about the best practices of Angular, so give me the best practices and all this stuff. And again, you will see in the summary of the AI, like the tool is being called, and the LLM will call it directly. And this is a very good idea in order to control and provide governance around the AI-generated code. Again, so in Twin, the Angular 21 version is out, and there are more MCP tools. There are MCP tools about example, interactive AI-powered Angular tutor, and my best part is the tool to provide zoneless migration. You know that Angular 21 is zoneless. You had a talk about this before my talk, I guess. And yeah, there is an MCP tool that will guide the migration to the zoneless stuff. So if you are using AI and you have an Angular project and you want to migrate, don't forget to use these tools in order to perform the zoneless migration. Yeah, so this is the part of the Angular MCP, how to control the output of AI, etc. You can also see more details in my article, Meet the Angular MCP, your AI safety harness. Okay, there are a lot of stuff about how to use and how to integrate those MCPs in your Angular app. Now, as we have a good picture about the part of controlling the AI output. This is a summary. It's about rules, LLM TXT, and MCP servers. Now it's time to take our Angular app to the next level and implement AI features, okay? So, okay, the output generated is correct, follows best practices, and it's okay. Now, how we can make the Angular app context-aware and bring AI features to life, okay? And this also the second part of my talk. So here we have Genkit to the rescue. Genkit is a framework for building AI-powered features released by Google, and it runs securely on the server, okay? So the Genkit is like the AI brain for your application. It lives in the backend, okay? So a real-world analogy in order to understand Genkit, think of it like the concept of restaurant, okay? You have the waiter and the kitchen. And let's orchestrate a dynamic dinner order. So you will have the dinner here is the user preference, okay? I want a pasta, pizza, and all the stuff. This is the prompt. And then this will go to the waiter. The waiter, in Genkit, there's a concept of flow. We will see it soon, but think of it as the waiter that will orchestrate the order, breaks it down, calls the kitchen, and structure the final responses. And your AI model here, the LLM and all this call, is the kitchen, okay? So here you have like Gemini and all this stuff, and it only does cooking, generate the recipe and generate the suggestions for you. So the first thing, given those concepts in mind, let's translate them into code, okay? So the first thing is the setup. In your backend server, you will have to set up the Genkit, and I break it down into small steps and simple steps in order to understand the concept clearly. So here, it's kind of opening the restaurant, or we tell Genkit which kitchen model is hired, okay? So here we have to install Genkit. The version 1.20 is the latest version. And you call the Genkit function that takes as parameters plugins and models, okay? So for the model, I picked the Gemini 2.5 Flash, but you can put any model that you want. And that's it. So this is the Genkit AI configuration. You install the modules, and you put this part to set up and install it. And there is another part, which is the Google API key. So you will have in your backend server the env file in which you put your API key. And in order to get the API key, you just go to the Google AI Studio. There is a section API keys, and you can like just get new key, and you will copy paste it in your env environment so you can access model. This part is mandatory, otherwise you will not get the model running and you cannot connect to it. So this is the first step, the setup configuration. Second step is ZOD and schemas. May sound like fancy a little bit in the beginning, but let's see what's the purpose of those tools. So ZOD is a TypeScript for schema declaration and validation library used by Genkit in order to structure the input and the output. It's kind of like given the object a type, a highly typed object, okay, in order to validate the user input and to enforce the model structured validation. So here we will declare our model, we will say that our input is exactly an object that will contain dish type, dietary restriction, and skill level. Okay, I put only 3 parameters. And yeah, so I will only receive this as input. And you can, like, of course, precise the type, string, you can enumeration, number. There are a lot of types. And if it's optional or it's mandatory and other stuff. So here is the input validation part. Then the kitchen's output schema. So here is the return response from the model. Again, you will like type it and you will say it's an object that contains the list of recipes. And here I give it a type recipe schema. It's the same definition. You will construct this object using z.object, same thing, and you put your properties one by one, and I want it to be like a list. This is the array. That's all. Then I just exported my types in order to use them in other functions. So this is step number 2. So here we are structuring, we are saying, yeah, we have this specific kind of input and this specific kind of output. Now step 4, the flow logic, okay? So here, sorry. No, not this slide. So defining the prompt. This is the right one. So step 3, it's the definition of the prompt. So now we will define the prompt and we will give it, okay, we will call the AI. This is the object we initialized it earlier, the Genkit initialization in step 1. And we will define the prompt. You will give it a name, the input and the output here that we have just constructed. And you give the prompt. This will be read by the LLM afterwards. So you will construct a fully structured front to say that, yeah, you are an expert chef and recipe creator, generate 3 detailed delicious recipes based on the following criteria. And here is the whole list of my prompt. I optimize it for you, but I can share the code and all the prompt with you later if you're interested. So just put all that you want from the model. Make sure our recipes fit with the maximum cooking time, respect all dietary restriction, generate diverse recipes, given the input, of course, dish type, dietary restriction, and skill level. Now for the step 4, so here's the real step 4, is the waiter. So here comes the flow logic. The flow is the, as we said, in our restaurant is the waiter. It will coordinate the task. It will like pass the input and the output from and back, model and user's input. So how we call it? There is also a function in the Genkit library that's called define flow, which will take as parameters the name of the flow, the input schema, the output schema, and then call the recipe prompt. Okay, so here I just added a step just before calling the recipe prompt to clean the recipe input. I just like clean the null values, empty values, and all this stuff to avoid problems. And then once the input is cleaned, I pass it to the recipe input, and I give it a model. So here is an optional step. You can avoid passing model. It will, if you don't pass a model, it will take the model, we put it in the initialization of Genkit. But if you want to like call different models given the prompt, or according to, in one prompt you will call this model and in another prompt you will call another model, then you can like give the recipe prompt the model as input. Okay, so here we define the flow, and now we should implement the API that calls all this. So of course, the code does not run in your Angular app, okay? It runs in the Node.js server. So in Angular app, we will call a REST API to make just an HTTP call and call those functions. So here I exported the generate recipes that took the generate recipes input and returns the generate recipes output, and I will call the flow. So the flow, it will call the prompt, and the prompt will call the model. So those are the steps. If you can summarize it, first of all, you put in place the Genkit installation, then you define the object input structure, the response structure, you generate the prompt, calling the generate prompt API, and then you call the flow that will orchestrate all that, and it will run the prompt for you. And now, as we have this method, it's async method that is available in our server. So we will like implement a normal post API. Okay, so here I have /API/recipes that will take the inputs, dish type, skill level, dietary restriction. There are a lot of others input as well. And simply call the generate recipes methods. So this method will call our flow. It's the method that I defined in the previous slide. And yeah, so once we have this, we have only to call the specific Angular, we will implement an Angular service, we will put the HTTP in place and call through HTTP post. You can also call the HTTP resource, which is a newer API, but yeah, they still work both together, so I just call it. And from my Angular component, which is the form that contains the dish type, the dietary restriction, the skill level, etc. I will call this API, and yeah, and it will call the LLM and returns the responses for me. So 6 steps in order to call the Genkit and get some suggestion from it. So if we break it down in 3 steps, the architecture, you have Angular, in which you have your UI users input. You can define the servers to initiate the request. Then you call the backend service, the local server that intercepts and executes using Genkit. And this will call the LLM, which is the model you defined in your Genkit installation. And yeah, time for a demo. So I will open Firebase Studio in order to do this demo. So here is my, okay, so if you don't know, Firebase Studio is the AI environment for Google. So you will have, I will just go from the start. Yeah, so you have here your prompt. You can like generate or create an app that you do all the prompts you want, and you can improve the prompts. You can also prototype with AI. You have here the list of technologies supported by the Firebase Studio. You can do new workspace, import repos, etc. And here is my projects list. So I have Minty recipes. Okay, so it's also the fun part is it's connected to Firebase tools and APIs, and this means that you can deploy it directly on Firebase, and it's a cool stuff. So you have like a whole development story from the creation, from the idea to the deployment. And here I have the list of users' inputs. Okay, so I want the dish type to be lunch. Dietary restriction, vegetarian. Cuisine, Italian, of course. I'm in Italy. So any beginner, I don't know, whatever. Those are optional. And I will ask the model to get recipes. Yeah. And this is the list of recipes returned from LLM. And it will like be different according to your inputs. Okay, so this is my simple app using Genkit, but like you can build anything you want. It can be like in travel fields, in localization also. There are a lot of limitations I saw with Genkit, which are really worth the hype. Yeah, so thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And if you want to ask, I'm available on LinkedIn also, so you can ask me on LinkedIn. And what I want to say is that this is a very small part of Genkit capabilities, but there are a lot of other extensions that you can put in place in order to level up and evolve. For example, for Firebase Studio implementation, there are an extension if you don't want to work on Firebase Studio. Of course, if you work locally, so you can add it as extension, and there are a lot of other extensions. So yeah, give it a try and make your application smart and context aware from now. Thank you.